What'd you say?
Hey you, it's Reese, and we are back with another word. 4 words like the last prophetic word videos. Forgive me for this first one because the Father gave me numbers to break this one down. And you don't have to be seeing these numbers for this word to be for you. He just gave me these numbers to break this prophetic word down. And I'm going to do my very, very best to explain it to where you don't get confused, okay? Before we get started, take this back to the Father. Take all these words back to the Father. Make sure whichever word, however many they are, that they're a word for you, that they are a word for you in the season that you're in, and most importantly, that they are a word from the Lord, okay? So make sure you do that. All right, so the first word is trite. And it means ordinary, overused, unoriginal, uninspired, dull, tired, commonplace, stale, corny, routine, humdrum. Did I say overdone? Overdone, overworked, common. Okay, you get the gist of it. All right, so the numbers the Father gave me to break this word down is the number 200. The number, God, I didn't write all of the numbers in my notes. Okay, the number 200, the number 6090, 6090, and 2698. And I'm gonna do my best to break this down. We are gonna start first with the number 200. This is a kingdom spouse word. And start with the number 200, which means, folly. And that is the Hebrew definition, and the Greek definition means a locust. So, all right, I'm gonna go over all the definitions first, and then I'm gonna break them down. Maybe it'll go better that way. The number 2698 means to lay down in Hebrew, and in Greek. And in Hebrew it means a place. Am I using the second definition for this? Hold on. Yes, a place in the wilderness. And the other definition means to lay down, deposit, mid. I lay down or deposit a favor with the view of receiving in return, seek favor. And then the other number, 6090, means idle. You guys should all know what idle means. And that's in Hebrew. And the other definition in Strong's Concordance means 3 occurrences, but it's talking about because I bore him with pain, or because I bear him with sorrow. If there be any hurtful way. And see if there be any wicked way, if way hurtful, and lead way. Gives you rest from your pain and turmoil, shall give thee rest from thy sorrow and from thy fear. Gives the Lord your pain and turmoil. So we're going to be using that last bit when it comes to the number 6090. Jesus. Oh, here.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Okay, so what the Father is saying with all these numbers is because of your kingdom spouse's folly, which means foolishness, because of their foolishness, the Lord is going to plague them with locusts, meaning which locusts in Egypt, when he sent the locusts, the plague of the locusts in Egypt, it stripped the fields and the trees. It stripped them of their riches and what they needed to survive. So the Father is saying, because of your kingdom spouse, some of you, because of some of your kingdom spouses' foolishness, the Lord will be plaguing them, stripping their fields. And it doesn't necessarily mean a money thing. It could be stripping them of peace, stripping them of comfort, stripping them from people to where they're alone, stripping them from material things, stripping them from. The stripping can occur in any type of shape, form, or fashion, but the Lord is stripping them. But because you laid them down, because for some of you, you had made your kingdom spouse before God did this separation. So either you guys were together before and he separated you guys, or you were married and led you to a divorce. For any of you saying, no, God wouldn't do that, please get off my channel. Not my channel, the Lord's channel. And go sit with your Father and see what he would really do, okay? Because if you are thinking that, then I know for a fact that you don't really know your Father. So I encourage you to go sit with him. Sorry that came out. He has me on this whole exposure thing. Typically, I would not say that in a prophetic word. But yeah, just, I don't want to hear that, okay? Holy Spirit, I'm sorry. Forgive me for saying that. But I do mean it, but in love. I do mean it, but in love. You're not sitting with the Father and you don't know him like you think you do if you think God won't cause a divorce, okay? Okay. Especially if you married in your time and not his, which is something I did. I married on my time because I didn't want to be living in sin, and he didn't call me to marry my kingdom spouse when I married him. So I did it out of his timing and almost wrecked our whole thing. We both did. So, and I as well made my kingdom spouse an idol. He had me drop both of my biggest idols, which was my ex-husband and my firstborn. They were two of the biggest idols I had. So God made me separate from both of them. But God is saying, since you laid your kingdom spouse down because they were your idol, and you bore them with pain, like you've been standing in the gap, you've been standing for marriage reconciliation, you've been standing and waiting for God to make this thing happen as he promised he would, and God is not a man that he shall lie, so it most assuredly will come to pass. And I say that standing on it, 10 toes down for whoever doubts it, okay? And that goes for the counterfeits too, because I know you guys are watching as well. The pettiness, that's the petty coming out. God is just, I'm supposed to be exposing myself, so hey, that's what it is. There goes the pettiness. What was I gonna say? Oh, so since you laid your kingdom spouse down from them being your idol, and you've been bearing this stand for marriage, you've been bearing it and, waiting for the reconciliation, doing everything the Father's been asking you to do when it comes to this kingdom marriage, seeking them out when he tells you to seek them, pulling back when he tells you to pull back, giving tough love, giving everything the Father's been calling you to do when it comes to this kingdom marriage. You have been doing it, and it has been painful. And the Father's like, I know, I see you. I know that you bore this whole thing with pain. I know that you've been hurt through this whole process. So because of that, I'm giving you rest for the turmoil. I am giving you rest from the pain. I'm going to take it from here. Don't worry about it. I'm not going to call you to do anything else because I'm letting you rest from standing. Doesn't mean you don't have to stand and continue to pray. Some of you he may be even calling to pray and fast. Why? Because some of these spirits can only be dealt with by prayer and fasting. So he still may be calling some of you to do that. But as far as ripping and running around and doing all this stuff, Father's like, I'm giving you rest. I'm giving you rest because I know you're tired. And they, on the other hand, must lay down. Hold on, sorry, I'm going over these notes. Oh my goodness, all the noise. Okay, so God is saying for them, for the kingdom spouse, God is causing them to lay down something and or someone, and they must part part with that thing or that someone in order for God to reconcile your relationship, their relationship with you. Because God will be removing the scales from their eyes, giving them spiritual eyes to see and spiritual ears to hear, because at the moment they're not really taking this situation too seriously. They're just like, dang, I lost him, or dang, I lost him again, and kind of sucks, and wanting things done on their terms, wanting things done how they see fit and not how the Father sees fit. Even how the Father sees fit, we aren't in agreement with all of it, and we're the ones standing. And God's not even giving it to us the way we want. So he's definitely not going to give it to them the way they want. So God is causing them to lay something or someone down in order for him to reconcile these relationships. And they're going to want these relationships reconciled because God's going to show them they're exactly who they've told you they are. If they told you, if God has called you to tell your kingdom spouse, I'm your Eve, or you're my Adam, or I'm your Adam and you're my Eve, God is going to show them they're exactly who they said they are, because I told them that's who you guys are to each other, because God ordained these marriages. But God is saying no longer will they be able to play foolishly around when it comes to these relationships, and God is pushing them because God has had enough. He's like, you're not going to play with my daughter or my son anymore. You're going to have to make a choice. And I guarantee you're going to want to choose them, because that's what's best for them, is us. Why? Because God created us to be in that relationship. Like he created Eve for Adam. There was no counterfeit, nothing. Like that was Eve and that was Adam, and they were to be together. God is like, you will never find another. And even for us, he's like, you as well, in case you ever want to think about not standing for this relationship anymore, you will also never find another. So God will be making it aware to them, as most surely already made it aware to you. You will not find another like your kingdom spouse, because God made these relationships it's just the two of you. It's just the two of you. That's it. You will never have that connection with anybody else other than the person God created you to be with. After they accept the call to lay down, put down that thing or things and or someone or someone's, that begins their wilderness process. That begins their wilderness process. And as Joseph, As Joseph, a lot of you have endured much in this waiting process, in this waiting season, not just for your marriage stand, but you being in the wilderness and you standing and being obedient to the other things God has promised to you, and you are waiting to see those things fulfilled, to see those things manifest. God is saying that just as Joseph endured much, he elevated Joseph afterwards. His brothers meant him harm, but God turned it for good. So some of your kingdom spouses may have been doing things or saying things meaning you harm. God's dealing with them. Some other people either close to you or that, are in your kingdom spouse's ear or in other people's ear mean you harm, but God's going to take care of them. God is turning everything for good. I also heard, not just a day or two ago, God's like, I'm taking care of your enemies, because God's had me in hiding. That's why I haven't been on here in like the last 3 months, because he'd had me in hiding. And even then when I did get on here, he wanted me to, he made sure I knew just to say what he told me to say, nothing else. Like, nobody need to know where you're at or anything. But now that God is taking care of our enemies, for some of you, God's like, of course, don't expose too much, but you don't have to be in hiding anymore, because the witchcraft and the manipulation and black magic and voodoo and word spells, word curses, love spells, all that other stuff. I'm dealing with it. He's dealing with it. Sorry for them, but he's about to be dealing with them and all the stuff they've been doing. So, but God's testing Joseph's heart. So us, testing Joseph's heart. As well as our character, to see if we will forgive the very ones that tried to kill us, that tried to, to harm us, that talked down on us, that, just kind of ripped a new one on us. And, you know, we had to suffer through all that. Because some of you, he is calling you to forgive and separate. And then this is a kingdom word. Sorry, that's for another word. Yes, it's a kingdom word. So yeah, he, you know, will be bringing them back, and, you know, of course you're going to be tested. Are you going to forgive? Are you going to leave? You know, are you going to not walk in bitterness? And, you know, are you going to open them and welcome them with open arms? I believe that's all for the word trite. Yeah, I believe that's it. Okay, so we're gonna go on to the next word. I don't know, I kind of feel like is there more? There's not more, is it? I don't think so. Yeah, or maybe I just wanted to say the fact that God gave Joseph rest after he endured all that with, you know, Potiphar and Potiphar's wife, and, you know, being thrown in prison, and almost, you know, his brothers attempting to kill him and all that stuff. God gave him rest, and even though it was hard for Joseph, he had said he wept, you know, he had to turn away from his brothers and go somewhere, you know, by himself and weep. So I'm sure that was like, you know, he had a whole bunch of emotions he was dealing with at the time, because he's like, dang, here's these people that betrayed me, but they're my loved ones, they're my brothers. So God is testing your character and your heart to make sure that you are sincerely forgiving. Okay, the next word is sycophant. And this word means today, creep, crawler, frowler, flatterer, minion, bootlicker, brown nose, suck up. And what the Father is saying with this word is, as God elevates more and more people you know or haven't spoken to, and or that you don't know, will become most interested in you. So as God continues to elevate you from glory to glory, and, you know, expose your name or expose your business or whatever he's exposing, as he's calling you higher, more and more people that you know and maybe haven't talked to in a while, or that you do know and you guys weren't as close, but you still talk to them, or people you don't know at all, they are going to be coming in and, you know, hey, how are you? How have you been? Oh, I see you're this, and, you know, you're doing so well, and, you know, just, you know, flatterers. Make sure you are taking everyone back to God, because not everyone that approaches you and cheers you on is sincere, okay? These are a lot of two-faced people that will be coming to you, and God is just wanting you to know, if you didn't already know, which I'm sure you did if you've been walking with him, but this is a reminder to make sure you're taking everyone back to him. It doesn't matter who they are, family or not. God is saying, make sure you bring everyone back to me so he can help you guard your heart and protect you, okay? The next word, scripture for that is basically, well, not scripture, I'm just going to be giving you guys kind of examples. Where did I find, what was the example for that? I'll have to look back at that because I got so many tabs up. If I even got an example for that one. I gotta look. I don't think I did. I think I accidentally skipped that one. Okay, but I'm moving to the next word, which is exonerate. You guys should already know what this means. Absolve, clear, acquit, find innocent, vindicate, discharge, pronounce not guilty. And I'm sure a lot of you have already heard this word, but vindication is coming. Everything the enemy has been planning and plotting against you. People talking about you saying you're crazy. People talking about you saying, oh, they ain't got nothing. And, you know, they just walking around here looking crazy, sounding crazy, and all this other stuff. You know, you giving up everything and, you know, having to just completely trust in God, and he's been taking care of you, but, you know, you've still been, he tested you in your season of lack, and, you know, for a lot of you, homelessness, and, you know, a lot of you not able to talk to anyone and having to give up family and friends and all that stuff. God is vindicating you not just by clearing your name, but also with material blessings. Like, he knows, he sees the struggle. A lot of you have been without cars, how to give up cars, been without a permanent place to stay, how to give up your homes, your apartments, townhouses, whatever. God is vindicating, clearing your name, but also replacing those material things that you had to give up as well, and reconciling relationships, not even just kingdom marriage relationships, but also other relationships. Examples for that is Saul. King Saul dies, and what happens? David takes the throne. God had already said David was going to be on the throne. But Saul was still on the throne. So when Saul died, then David takes the throne. He was vindicated. Nabal, Abigail's husband, his name means fool. He was literally a fool, and David almost killed him for his foolish ways. But Abigail ran down and gave wise counsel to David and was like, remember me after this, but don't kill my husband because he's a fool, and God got work for you to do. So when God terminates Nabal dies the next day after he refused David food for him and his soldiers. Nabal dies the next day, and David swoops up Abigail. Abigail was vindicated as well, but David was vindicated. His name was cleared. God was like, I'm not about to let him do you like that. I got you. As long as you stay in my perfect will and be obedient. Which, marrying another wife, because Abigail was not his first wife, that was not God's perfect will. But nevertheless, Daniel in the lion's den and the fiery furnace. Daniel was like, I'm not praising you, not worshiping you or none of your gods. I serve one God only. And if you want to kill me for that, then do what you got to do. My Father, my Lord, he will rescue us from the fiery furnace, but even if he doesn't, I'm still not bowing down to you or your gods. The Father rescued Daniel and his 3 homies from the fiery furnace. That is, oh my Lord, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And as well as the lion's den. He came out in whole. No pieces missing, nothing. They were like, you didn't get eaten? Nah. Do you know who my God is? Vindication. Moses leading the Israelites out of Egypt. For Pharaoh turned him down so many times and was probably like, I ain't letting your people go. God was like, plague, plague, plague. You want to keep playing? Plague, plague, plague. You want to play some more? Plague. Oh, your son's dead now. You still want to play? Pharaoh was like, I'm done. I had enough. I can't take this no more. Leave. Please, get out. Moses was vindicated. He told the Israelites, I'm going to lead you out. And God made a way for him to lead them out. The flood and Noah's Ark. They were talking about Noah like, you crazy. You don't even know what you're building. You don't even know what rain is. Neither do we, but neither do you. And you just over here just stupidly building whatever your ark is, and you don't even know why you're building it, because no such thing as rain even exists. Noah was like, it's okay. Noah was like, yeah, part of that's true. I don't know what rain is. I ain't never seen it a day before in my life, but God told me to build whatever this is, the ark. Yeah, the ark. He gave me all the, instructions to build it, so I'm gonna do it. Guess what? God wiped out the whole world. Only Noah and his family was saved. Vindication. Exonerate. He exonerated them. Joseph versus Potiphar's wife. Joseph versus his brothers. Vindication. God vindicated Joseph, made him ruler under the Pharaoh and over all of Egypt. He was able to take care of his family that tried to kill him afterwards. Hannah conceiving a son. I think this is, I'm going to leave that one out because I didn't get to look up. I forgot to look up if that was the one I was talking about when the other wife was making fun of her for not being able to have kids, and she had all these kids. I think it's Hannah, I'm not sure. Anyway, she ended up conceiving and was like, yeah, I got a kid now. So shub up, as my 4-year-old would say, shub up. Last word is Palliate. Is that how you say it?
Palliate.
Palliate. which means alleviate, ease, relieve, soothe, take the edge off, massage, dull, soften, lessen, moderate, temper, diminish, decrease. I don't really care for this word, but what the Father is saying when it comes to this is confessions will be made, and if confessions aren't made, then God will be exposing. And for a lot of you, the things that will be exposed, it is going to hurt you probably a lot. Some of you may need counseling after confessions and or exposure. I know I am one. My father has already told me I am going to need counseling afterwards. Looking forward to that. If you didn't know, I'm being very sarcastic. But what God is saying, after these confessions and after exposure, you will be hurt. You will. But he is going to give you strength. He's going to give you peace, and he's going to give you grace. He is going to soothe your pain. He is going to soothe your hurt so that you can either return to support the very person that betrayed you and that had to confess and or was exposed, or for some of you, God has called you away from these people, but he's still going to give you grace, peace to forgive them and separate, or he's going to give you grace, peace, and strength to forgive and return to support them and carry their cross, because this is going to weigh them down. But for a lot of these cases, this will be the beginning of their wilderness. This goes for some of your kingdom spouses as well. But God's saying he is going to relieve it, which it means, the word means make a disease or its symptoms, so it's not a disease, less severe or unpleasant without removing the cause. So God is saying, I'm not going to take the situation away. It's not like it's going to happen. It already happened, and exposure's coming and confessions are coming, but I'm going to take the edge off so you're not just stuck in your feelings. I'm going to give you grace, peace, and strength to continue to move forward with whatever assignments he's called you to. Okay? All right, that is it. That is all I got for you on this word. Until next time, remember, God loved you then, no matter what you did back then. He loves you now, no matter what you're doing now. And I love you in the future, no matter what you may do in the future. God loves you, and he calls you righteous. So stay righteous. And if you ain't righteous, for the love of God, get righteous. Okay? All right, and I'm out. Bye.